Hey everyone, my name is Cheyenne and we're so excited you're joining us today. Today we're talking about the story of Elisha raising the Shunammite woman's son from the dead. This is a crazy story in which the Shunammite woman got her hopes up about having a son and ended up feeling completely let down when her son died. Many of us have experienced letdowns in our life, but it's important not to let those consume us to the point where we lose trust in Jesus. That's why today we're talking about how we can trust Jesus every day. So say this after me: every day, I can trust Jesus. We're gonna start things off by singing a song together, so go ahead and stand up and sing this out with us as loud as you can.
Something to say and it will be heard. I made up my mind, not afraid to show. That's right, gonna leave the past behind, gonna let the whole world know I am who God says I am. Let me tell you now. I am who God says I am. I am forgiven, I am a winner, I have been chosen. Jesus, I am yours. Jesus, I am yours. Forever. Jesus, I am yours. Forever. I am. Jesus, I am yours. I belong to the one who saved me. I belong to the one who gave his life. So I will take my place. I will stand and say, Jesus, I am yours. I am who God says I am. I am who God says I am. Let's go. I am who God says I am. 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 I am forgiven. I am a winner. I have been chosen. Jesus, I am yours. Jesus, I am yours. I belong to the one who saved me. I belong to the one who gave his life. So I will take my place. I will stand and say, Jesus, I am yours. I belong to the one who saved me. I belong to the one who gave his life. So I will take my place. I will stand and say, Jesus, I am yours. Who God says I am. I am who God says I am. I am who God says I am. I am who God says I am. You know I am who God says I am. I am who God says I am.
You guys sounded so good. Thank you for singing along with us. Now we're gonna take some time to watch a Bible story together. Like I said earlier, today's story is about Elisha and the Shunammite woman. Let's check it out.
One day, Elisha made his way to a town called Shunem. There was a woman in Shunem who had a lot of money. Anytime Elisha would pass through Shunem, this woman insisted that he come and eat at her and her husband's house. She loved having Elisha over for meals. Elisha would pass through her town so much that eventually she said to her husband, "You know what? We should build a room for Elisha on top of our house. We could put a bed, a table, a chair, and a lamp in it for him. That way he has somewhere to stay when he's passing through." So that's exactly what they did. Elisha was so grateful that one day he had his servant named Gehazi go get the woman and bring her to Elisha's room. Once she got there, Elisha had his servant Gehazi say, "You went through all this trouble for us. What can I do for you?" The woman didn't say anything that Elisha could do for her. So Elisha asked Gehazi what he thought they should do. Gehazi answered saying, "Well, she doesn't have any kids, and her husband is pretty old." That's it, Elisha thought. Then he told Gehazi to go tell the woman that by this time next year, she would have a son. The woman was in disbelief. "Don't lie to me," she said, but Elisha wasn't lying. Within the next year, she had a little baby boy. After that, many years had passed, and the boy grew up. One day, the boy went out to his father, who was working in the fields, and he started complaining that his head was hurting. So the father told one of his servants to pick the boy up and carry him to his mother. His mother held him until about noon, but then something terrible happened. The boy died. The mother was heartbroken, but she didn't show it. Instead, she took her son up to Elisha's room and laid him on Elisha's bed. Then she said to her husband, "Have one of the servants bring a donkey to me, so I can go to Elisha and come back." Her husband asked why she was going today, but instead of telling him that their son had just died, she replied with, "Everything's fine." Then she put a saddle on the donkey, and her servant rode as fast as they could straight to Elisha. Elisha saw the woman coming from a long way off. So he said to Gehazi, "Hey look, there's the Shunammite woman. Run out to meet her and ask her if everything's okay with her, her husband, and her child." When Gehazi asked her, she answered, "Everything's fine." But her attitude changed when she finally got to Elisha. She fell down to the ground and grabbed his feet and cried. "Did I ask for a son? Didn't I tell you not to get my hopes up?" she said. Elisha, seeing the woman's great sadness, turned to Gehazi and told him to take his staff and go to the child as fast as he could. Once he got there, he should place the staff on the boy's face. So Gehazi ran and did exactly that. But the woman refused to leave Elisha's side. When Gehazi got to the boy and put the staff on his face, there was no sound or sign of life. So he went back and told Elijah that the child had not awakened. So Elisha came to the house and went up to his room where the woman had placed her son. He prayed to God, and then he walked over to the child and laid on top of him. He stretched out his body over the boy, and when he did, the boy's body became warm. But he still didn't get up. Elisha stood up and walked back and forth. Then he stretched his body out over the boy again. Suddenly, the boy sneezed. Then he sneezed again and again. The boy sneezed 7 times, and his eyes shot open. He was alive! Elisha brought the Shunammite woman back and told her to pick up her son. She fell at his feet with thankfulness. Then she picked up her son, who just moments ago had been dead, but was now very much alive. The end.
The Shunammite woman got her hopes up and was completely let down. But she didn't focus on her son who had just died. That would have wrecked her. She quickly switched her focus to the only person she knew that could help her, Elisha. And Elisha totally came through for her. Imagine watching this happen. The boy was dead, and Elisha walks into the room, and when he comes out, the kid is alive. What would you be thinking as the boy walked out of the room alive and well? I would encourage you to pause the video here and take a couple of minutes to talk about that. Then, once you're done talking about it, unpause and continue the video. Our friend Pastor Cameron is going to be talking to us a little bit more about our story right now, so let's take a look.
Have you ever really gotten your hopes up about something only to be completely let down? Like when you're young and you get a balloon and you're just so excited to have that balloon, but then out of nowhere, it pops. Talk about a letdown. Or maybe you've been looking forward to this new movie for so long and then it finally comes out and it's just terrible. It's not even a good movie. Let down. Or maybe you really wanted something for your birthday, so you keep hinting at it more and more as your birthday gets closer. Then your birthday finally comes, and you see a beautifully wrapped present that seems to be the size of that thing that you've been wanting. So you tear into the wrapping paper, so excited, and it's just a pair of socks. Wool socks. Socks? That is what we would call a letdown. You had your hopes up really high, and ultimately, you were completely let down. Nobody likes being let down. In the story of Elisha and the Shunammite woman's son, the Shunammite woman was completely let down. When Elisha told her that she would have a son, the first thing she did was convey that she did not want to get her hopes up. She said, no way, don't you lie to me. Her husband was a pretty old guy, and based on her reaction to Elisha's words, they probably had given up on trying to have kids a long time ago. She probably had hopes of having a son once, but those were long gone by now, so she didn't want to get her hopes up again. But sure enough, a year later she had a son, and her hopes were finally realized. But it didn't last long. As she held her dying son in her arms, she was crushed. She was totally and completely let down. The first thing she said to Elisha when she saw him was, "Didn't I tell you not to get my hopes up? I didn't ask for a son." Some of us are in a similar position as the Shunammite woman. We got our hopes up. Things were going so well. And all of a sudden, we got let down. Maybe you lost a family member too. Maybe your parents got a divorce. Maybe you needed healing and you didn't get it. Whatever it may be, you feel like God let you down. Some people never make it past this point. They get so focused on the things that they lost that they're actually afraid to ever hope again because they don't want to be let down again. They get so focused on wondering things like, why didn't God come through for me? I prayed for healing. I prayed that my parents wouldn't get a divorce. I prayed that my mom or dad wouldn't lose their job. Why didn't my prayers work? You see, the truth is, just like we were all once filled with sin, we live in a world that's filled with sin. And that sin brings sickness, death, and all sorts of other hardships. Also, we have an enemy called the devil that is actively working against us. He's the worst. He loves to see bad things happen to people. But Jesus said this in John 16:33. "In this world, you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world." You see, if the Shunammite woman had stayed focused on her son that had died and why it had happened, she never would have experienced such an amazing miracle. Was she sad? Yes, and that's okay. But she didn't keep her focus there. Instead, she shifted her focus to the man of God, Elisha. She had been let down, but she had a new hope that Elisha would be able to raise her son back to life. This is what Jesus is asking us to do in John 16:33. He lays it out there. In this world, we're gonna have problems. But take heart, here's your hope. I have overcome the world. Jesus is saying, keep your eyes on me. Bad stuff's gonna happen, but that's okay because this life, it's only temporary. I've overcome it. I just need you to trust me. Put your hope in me. It's worth it. We have to do what the Shunammite woman did and stop focusing on the thing that let us down and shift our focus to our new hope, Jesus. When we put our hope in Jesus, our problems may not magically disappear. We will still have trouble. But there is a day coming where Jesus will make everything new. Wrongs will be made right. Troubles will cease to exist, and we will get to spend forever with Jesus. 2 Corinthians 4:16-18 says this, "That is why we never give up. Though our bodies are dying, our spirits are being renewed every day. For our present troubles are small and won't last very long, yet they produce for us a glory that vastly outweighs them and will last forever. So we don't look at the troubles that we can see now. Rather, we fix our eyes on things that cannot be seen. For the things we see now will soon be gone, but the things we cannot see will last forever. Guys, it takes a lot of trust to stop focusing on those things that let us down and to say, God, I don't know why this happened, but I place my hope in you. I know it's hard sometimes to get past that thing that let you down, but like our verse said, never give up. Ask God to help you trust him, and he will. If we put our trust and our hope in Jesus, it will all be worth it. So when bad things happen, fix your eyes on Jesus. The troubles may not always cease to exist here and now, but we can trust that there is a day coming where Jesus fixes everything. That's the hope that we have. Now here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that this world is terrible and we should just wait it out until Jesus comes back. Maybe you feel like you can't have joy right now in this world. Maybe you feel like you can't have peace. Maybe you feel like you can't trust people. But when we focus on Jesus and our relationship with him, he does promise that in this life, here and now, in the midst of all of our troubles, we can have joy. We can have peace. And we can have these things because they don't come from this world. They come from our relationship with him. Even when things let us down, we can still trust Jesus every day.
Most of us have felt let down at one point or another. We got our hopes up and ultimately things didn't work out. But like Pastor Cameron talked about, in those times when we get let down, it's important not to focus on the problem, but to shift our focus to Jesus. I would encourage you to take time with your parents or small group leader to talk about a time when you felt let down by God. It's important to talk about these things in a safe environment where you can express doubts or questions that you might have. There may not always be an answer as to why something happened, but if we shift our focus to Jesus, we can trust that he will help us through it. Remember, every day we can trust Jesus. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.